Most people's first exposure to manifestation and spirituality is actually the information that might be holding them back the most. It usually starts off with a little something like this: just think positive, or act as if, or even visualize and then let go. And listen, these concepts are not that wrong, but when they're all that you're working with, they can become these rigid little formulas that don't leave any room for any deeper understanding. Deeper understanding that's going to lead you to getting what you want out of this life. We can easily end up chasing results with tools that we don't fully understand, and that can create more resistance than results. The very first ideas that you come across about manifestation, those shape your foundation and understanding of universal laws. And depending on what you landed on, that can either set you up for deep understanding or a lot of confusion. Now, if you were lucky enough to find teachings that were intuitive and effective from the very jump, bravo. But for most of us, we start out with some manifestation concepts that sounded inspiring, but didn't really deliver the results that we were hoping for. And that puts us in a tricky spot, because now, before we can fully manifest the life that we want, we've got to unlearn what never really worked in the first place. Yeah, that's right. Not all teachings are created equal. And like I said before, it's a lot harder to unlearn than to be taught the right way from the very start. Oh, but here's the thing. It's not too late. It's never too late. Even if you've been at this for a while, even if the results that you've been getting are hit and miss, starting with a fresh mindset is still possible. So if you've been needing a boost in motivation or permission to reset your mind, this is it. Today, we're wiping the slate clean. I want you to learn how to unlearn what's been blocking you, so you can finally start to manifest in a way that actually works for the life that you're ready to receive. When I was a younger man, I trained in martial arts and I dabbled in a handful of sports. And one thing was always crystal clear to me: whatever you learned as the fundamentals made all the difference. The way that you were introduced to the basics shaped everything that came after that. Now, I might have hung up the gi for now, but I still wrap my hands every day to keep my boxing skills sharp. And in boxing, fundamentals are everything. They don't call it the sweet science for nothing. If you have never learned how to throw a proper jab, or to move your feet properly, or how to protect yourself, you won't last very long in the ring with someone who did learn those things. That's just the facts. If you spend day after day practicing the wrong technique, that inefficient and ineffective method starts to embed itself in your muscle memory and in your subconscious mind. Oh, and once it's in there, studies show that it can be up to 10 times harder to unlearn a bad habit than to learn a new one from scratch. Unlearning is not a quick or easy process. The time, the effort, and the commitment required to challenge your existing beliefs, to challenge your existing behaviors, and explore new perspectives can be tough and intimidating, just enough to keep you stuck in the same old pattern of failure. But forget that. You made the decision to become a master manifester and take control of all of this. You've stepped into the arena ready to dominate. But if your first exposure to this topic led you to lessons on mindlessly repeating affirmations, obsessing over what other people are thinking, what other people are doing, or putting your life on pause just to make something happen, or even if you were told that it's supposed to be easy, it's supposed to be instant, then you're not alone. The truth is this: once those ideas take root in your mind, it can be extremely difficult to let them go, even after you realize that they're not very effective. Change is hard, I know this. Most of us resist it, especially when we're being asked to rethink something that used to work for us, or that we've grown comfortable using, even if it didn't really work. And before real change can happen, there's something we often overlook: the need to unlearn. Unlearning is often harder than picking up something new, because it means letting go of what's familiar, even if it's no longer serving us. Like in my boxing example that I gave earlier, if I learn to use the wrong stance or throw a punch incorrectly, yeah, it may get me through my first few fights successfully, but eventually, when I get to the bigger, better fights, I won't be able to compete. I won't be able to maneuver and strategize the way an elite fighter with an elite foundation would. The same goes for manifestation. Yeah, you can get by with a certain technique or a certain way of thinking, but what about when you hit that roadblock? What about when it comes to something that you really want, that will really change your life and the lives of those around you? Are you willing to unlearn everything you know in order to reach a level beyond your limits? Of course you are. It's time for you to take all of this knowledge and turn it into real tangible results in your life right now. I've created a free manifestation video guide to walk you through just how to do so and how to apply these techniques into your everyday life. Comment "Give me the guide" down below and we'll send you the link to access it. Your subconscious is not logical. It doesn't care what makes sense. It learns through experience and repetition. That's why unlearning is such a big deal. Back when I was training, we used to say, How you train is how you fight. If a fighter picks up bad habits in training like sloppy footwork, they might get away with it for a while, but the second that pressure hits, the second they're on the big stage, that muscle memory kicks in. And it's not the correct technique that shows up, it's the one that you've been practicing for the longest. You have manifestation muscles too, and they are under the same rules of engagement. The beliefs that you were exposed to earlier on, even the ones that were incomplete or misleading, don't just disappear when you learn something new. They shape your automatic thoughts, your default behavior, your emotional reactions, and how you respond to life. There's a reason it's so hard to shake certain beliefs. Your brain is literally wiring them in. Thanks to something called neuroplasticity, we now know that the brain is always forming, always strengthening neural pathways based on repetition. So the more that you think a certain thought, the more natural it becomes, and the easier it is for your brain to default to it automatically. A thought repeated enough times becomes an assumption. That assumption becomes a belief. And that belief, experienced enough times, eventually becomes your identity. Once that belief is in place, confirmation bias kicks in. That's the brain's way of looking for evidence to support what it already believes and filtering out anything and everything that challenges it. So if you have came to believe that manifestation should be instantaneous, you'll start ignoring all the signs of slow, steady progress and hyper-focus on anything that looks like proof that it's not working. Even if someone presents you with a better way, even if new information makes sense, your subconscious mind will cling to the original story just to keep the mental structure that it's already used to. That's why this work isn't just about learning something new. It's about having the courage to question what you've already accepted as truth. And here's where real mastery begins. Because if that belief goes unchecked, it can quietly turn into the entire lens that you see life through. You will feel like a failure, not because manifestation doesn't work, but because you were never taught the right rhythm or the right process to begin with. And around we go until you decide to interrupt that loop and lay down a new pattern. And that's what we're going to start doing right now. Allow me to introduce you to your new mantra: learn, unlearn, relearn. The illiterate of the 21st century are not those who can't read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. One of my favorite quotes to pass along to you by the writer Alvin Toffler: it's not enough to just binge YouTube videos. It's not enough to read every book or skim through every book and try every technique that you come across. Even though that's a really good start, the real growth doesn't come from consuming more information. It comes from knowing what to keep and what to throw out. It's not going to feel that convenient or effortless, but this process will lead to what actually is effective. It's going to lead you into a foundation that's been tested, that's been lived, and proven to work. And it depends on you being willing to let go of the rest. So if you ever felt like a failure because manifestation didn't quite work the way it was promised to, you're not alone, and you're not going to stay in that zone by yourself. Let me tell you this right now. The issue was never you. It was the programming. It was the assumptions, the way you were taught to approach it in the first place if it's not serving you today. But knowing the cause doesn't mean that we place blame there. Real mastery of anything, not just manifestation, requires refinement. Just like in martial arts, you don't become a black belt or a world-class boxer by watching a few videos or getting it right the first time. You train, you practice, you adjust, you correct. Over time, you build something one of a kind. Here's how you start the unlearning process though. Stop trying to logic your way into a new reality. Start giving yourself new experiences, ones that show your subconscious what's actually possible. Visualize in a way that feels real. Speak in a way that feels in lockstep with what you're trying to manifest. Glide through your day like someone who knows the shift has already happened. And above all, be patient with yourself. Your mind, your thoughts even, are not your enemy. It just needs new instructions, new evidence, new rhythm. So take the pressure off, wipe the slate clean, and let today be the day that you stop forcing all of this and start relearning how powerful you really are. That's our discussion for today. Comment down below and let me know that you're ready to dive deeper into your self-transformation journey and watch my free self-mastery course. The full course is available inside my community with subscription, along with our powerful courses, tools, and support to help you master this art of manifestation. If you're ready to turn all of this knowledge into real results, comment "Give me the guide" down below or click the links in the description to access my community and all of my offerings. I am Shaun, and you are neither here nor there. Thank you for your time.